The following show contains spoilers for Zack Snyder's Justice League. It's what I call my legal team, the Justice League.
We could survive that. We could survive that. We could survive it.
Hello and welcome to We Could Survive That, your survival guide to the movies. I'm Jack. Phoning in from his telephone is Chris.
Yes, I am calling in from my telephone because my laptop cannot handle cast.
No, it cannot handle being turned on either.
And my tablet, which we normally record on, is refusing to cooperate.
Yeah. So, you know how we did the intro bit last week? It's the whole show.
Oh god, it's the same thing this week. I'm laying on my bed with a gaming headset on with it plugged into my phone on a voice call with Jack, who's holding his phone or got his phone positioned in front of a microphone.
Yeah, it's very professional. 313 episodes we've done, Chris.
Yeah.
And this is how we treat one of the biggest releases of 2021 with a below amateur par setup. This is great stuff. This is truly professional podcasting at its highest.
This entire thing embodies the spirit of the podcast, doesn't it?
Yeah,
like
guerrilla
it shows we really try our hardest. We don't let anything hold us back, and we rise up to every challenge, a bit like the Justice League and the fans that wanted the Snyder Cut releasing.
Ah, I like that, Chris. So this is like a metaphor. We didn't fuck up. We're showing that our determination is the same, if not greater, than those people that went on Twitter and complained about wanting a better quality of film.
That is exactly it. I'm glad you picked up on that and, said it out loud, because I thought it in my head. You've said it out loud, so now it's official. So that's what it is. Not our equipment failing or anything like that, because we wouldn't do that. We're not amateurs.
No, you're an amateur. My equipment is working fine. Thank you very much. But yeah, 2021 sees the prophecies were right, Chris. The Snyder Cut was real. Well, sort of. 2017's Justice League can be forgotten as we get this 4-hour behemoth available on HBO Max, or if you don't live in the US, Now TV and Sky Cinema and other distribution platforms around the net. But where do you stand, caller? Where
do I stand on the Snyder Cut?
Yeah, where do you stand on the original Justice League, and were you looking forward to the Snyder Cut?
I was looking forward to the Snyder Cut. The original Justice League, I remember watching the cinema review, and when the credits rolled, thinking, wow, that was really bad. And I've watched it once since then when they put it onto Netflix, and I didn't mind it as much the second time. And I was like, it's still not great. And then this one came out, and I was excited for this. And I remember somebody being critical of the Snyder Cut, saying, hey, it won't be that different, it won't change that much. But it changed everything. And what we got was a beautiful 4-hour-long superhero movie that the DC Universe needed. And it was brilliant, and I enjoyed it all the way through. I watched it in one sitting. Unfortunately, it isn't canon. The 2017 version is still the canon film. So everything this film sets up is gone to waste. We're not going to get any of that, because the 2017 one is still the canon one, unfortunately. But I thought it was great. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I will definitely rewatch again.
Well, I did go back, because I haven't watched the 2017 version of Justice League since it came out. I watched it once at the cinema. We did the podcast on it, and I didn't watch it again. I did go back and listen to... It kind of sounds weird. I went back and listened to my own voice. But I wanted to see what I thought of the film back then. And I think we both... We agreed it had problems. One major one, that Henry Cavill didn't look like Henry Cavill. But I think we were both... we were on the fence of it's all right. It was passable. It had problems, but we still had fun with it. But I look at this film... Well, I look at both the Justice League films as being apples. So we've got the 2017 one, Chris. It's an older apple. It's a bit wrinkly. You can still eat it. You dropped it when you were putting it in the fruit bowl, so it's got a bruise on one side. And the 2021 version of Justice League is a big apple. It's a bigger apple. It's shinier. It's got loads of stickers on it that you got to peel off. But it's fresh. It's smoother. It looks like a more appealing apple. And in a whole, it is a more appealing apple. It's juicier. It's nicer. But it is still an apple, Chris. And I would much rather have a cake than an apple.
What film is your cake in this metaphor, this twisted food metaphor?
Jaws. Any other film. A Jurassic Park.
What?
Look. It's definitely an improvement upon the 2017 one. Okay,
it's a major improvement.
I don't
major
think so.
Improvement. I really think it is. They have so much screen time. They can properly introduce all the characters. You get a lot more backstory built up. This is things that sometimes co-host Bobby has already said, that you feel, you get more connected to the character. There's more emotional attachments and stuff there. And as a black-suited Superman, what more could you possibly want?
A nicer Superman, Chris.
No, we want angry Superman, because Superman has to be angry in this and overly aggressive, because, this was obviously planning with all the nightmare stuff to lead into an evil Superman storyline. So it makes sense for angry Superman in this.
Look, I'm probably going to be the de facto negative Nelly in this podcast. I did like it. Okay, I made a list of pros and cons, Chris. God. Granted, the cons section is still bigger than the pros, but there are quite a lot of pros. But plot-wise, there are still problems that exist in the 2017 version that still exist in this. Some of them are fixed by this. It fixes quite a lot of problems because it is an overall smoother film. The tone is not as wonky as if they tried to get a second director and then just shoved in a bunch of scenes that didn't work with Zack Snyder's original vision. But there are still issues, like the scene where they decide to bring back Superman from the dead. That bit is probably worse in this version for me, because there is such a long time from, okay, we've established this is a world without Superman. We've got all these characters doing this stuff, and then they all sit around a room, around a box, and go, well, isn't it obvious what we should do with this box? Isn't it clear what we should do? And I'm thinking, I've seen the film before, so I know they bring back Superman, but I'm sat there going, what are they going to do with the box? Are they going to resurrect Ares because Ares beat up Darkseid in a flashback? And they're like, no, we'll bring back Superman. I'm like, oh yeah, Superman is in this film, but it's been such a long time from the setup to the payoff that I didn't.
That sounds like a major you problem. There is. I definitely didn't have that problem, and I'm sure there's loads of people who probably hadn't even seen the 2017 version, but perhaps had seen the other two films, Man of Steel and BVS, that would have known they were obviously talking about Superman. Throughout the whole film, they're talking about how, we're united, but we're not powerful enough to stop them. And, Alfred's like, oh, you don't dangle the red cape in front of a raging bull and stuff like that. And Bruce is like, well, you do if it can punch back, and this one can. So, and when they're talking about it, it plays the Superman theme from Man of Steel. How much more do you want?
That theme is not very memorable.
That is a highly memorable theme from Man of Steel.
Well, look, it's no Wonder Woman thing. But
it's no Wonder Woman theme. That's not the point. But it's memorable, and it was clearly obvious when they're talking about a house. A house burns down. That the house becomes dust, smoke particles, and the box can turn smoke particles back to a house. So it's like, oh, they're clearly talking about resurrecting Superman
or Ares.
No, they are not talking about Ares in the slightest. There's nothing to suggest that at all, rather than a flashback.
Ares beat the shit out of Darkseid, and surely Darkseid is more powerful than Steppenwolf. So if you bring back Ares, he'll beat up Steppenwolf and then go and finish off Darkseid. And
then you're going to have the God of War to deal with.
Yeah, that's fine. Wonder Woman dealt with him, so she can do it again.
Oh, the power of love, yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
So that's how she did it once, she can do it again. I think Darkseid being in it... look, it's 4 hours, and I know they've got to pad it out, but Darkseid doesn't really add that much. Martian Manhunter doesn't really add that much. Bless him, J.K. Simmons as Jim Gordon doesn't really add that much.
Again, these okay, not so much J.K. Simmons, but Darkseid, Martian Manhunter. These are all things that were setting up for future DC films, which, they're not going to happen, but Snyder intended for them to be in there because he had a vision to set up. He wanted a Justice League trilogy.
Yeah, I know.
So he was setting up the next 2 Justice League films, and then Warner Bros, basically lopped off his nuts and said, no, we're sticking with the 2017 version, even though your version's better.
I do feel sorry for Snyder, but then again, I think he's constricted by the Justice League films. I wasn't excited for the Snyder Cut, but I am excited for that Army of the Dead film that he's got coming out. That is what I want from Snyder, because he can go ape shit and do what he wants, which is blood and action and explosions and people ripping zombies apart and that good stuff, that macho stuff that he wants to do, because this being a 15 doesn't help. You get a couple of swears and some wonky CG blood and that's it. So he's kind of trapped by Warner Brothers trying to make this franchise as profitable as possible. So this isn't a dig at him. I think he's a good filmmaker, but this isn't for him, I think.
No, I disagree. I think if Warner Bros. Went, you know what, let's make your version the canon one. You've got free reign over Justice League 2 and 3. And I think he'd make an excellent, addition. I think he would really do well with the next 2 Justice League films, because I'm excited for what he's set up. I want to see more Martian Manhunter. I want to see an evil Superman / Darkseid, storyline, wherever he's planning to go with that. And then you got the whole thing of Wade Wilson, Deathstroke, finding out Bruce Wayne is Batman. So that would have gone into a nice
Slade,
sorry. Fucking Wade Wilson is Deadpool. Yeah, so Slade Wilson, Deathstroke going off into a nice Batman film against Ben Affleck. That would have been good. And I think if Snyder had been given all of this, he'd be able to bring this franchise back from the brink, because it's fluffing. This film's not made me look forward to, and I hope this doesn't reflect it, is the Green Lantern movie, because we get an extended scene here showing Darkseid invading Earth and the Amazons and the Atlanteans, I forgot everybody, and men and that all come together to fight. And it's got a Green Lantern, and it's much more extended, so we get to see more of this Green Lantern. And it was
like 2 seconds.
We get more of this Green Lantern than
seconds of random Green Lantern action.
And this Green Lantern was terrible. I was wanting some big constructs, and he was just firing off little green balls. It was awful. But whatever. And then we've got Zeus and this and that. It was a good battle. But I'm hoping that this Green Lantern is not a representation of the future Green Lantern film.
Well, he's dead now, so you don't have to. He's dead, and it was 1,000 years ago, so it doesn't matter.
Right. But look, does it matter?
It doesn't. It doesn't fucking matter. Look.
Because that ring is going to find Ryan Reynolds.
Look, I was about to pivot into positives until you started going on about the battle and the 2 extra seconds of a Green Lantern that nobody gives a shit about.
There was more than 2 seconds, but it was bad fighting.
I'm trying to be nice to the film, okay?
I'm not being nice.
Look, the added scenes do work for certain characters. So Cyborg, I'm very happy that he gets fleshed out and gets a more deeper backstory, and the contrast and the troubles that he's gone through, being brought back to life, and this sort of survivor's guilt he's got. He's not getting on with his dad, and that stuff's interesting. Flash, he gets a couple of extra scenes. They add more Ezra Miller quick talking. I'm surprised at how much actually Ezra Miller's stuff didn't change between the Whedon version and this version. He was still the comedic relief, so it was fine. Maybe because I've seen his jokes before, they didn't land as well second time around, but they were fine. Wonder Woman gets a Indiana Jones sort of exploring a temple scene as well. I think Aquaman might be the worst hit by the added scenes, because he gets 2 scenes which are basically the same, of him going underwater, Willem Dafoe or Amber Heard come up to him, make a bubble and go, "You need to get your shit together, man, and start being the king." And he's like, "No, man, I want to be a surfer dude." And we get that scene twice, which I think is a bit redundant. But I like Jason Momoa as Aquaman. Did this version of the cut change your mind? Because I know last time you weren't so hot on Momoa.
Oh yeah, he's grown on me since then. Well, he grew on me since I watched the actual Aquaman film.
Yeah. Do you think if they had built the Justice League in the same way the MCU had built to the Avengers film, giving each character their own solo film first before chucking them together, that would have made a difference?
I think the only difference that would have made is we still would have got Justice League exactly the same, but it would have been 2 hours. It wouldn't have been a 4-hour long film, because they wouldn't have needed all the introduction and backstories to, Cyborg and all that lot.
Okay.
So I think, yeah, just that. And you know what? I'm not fussed with them doing it that way. I like it this way. I was good for 4-hour film. You hit 2 hours, I had a break, I had a cup of tea, I went back and finished the other 2 hours. It was great. Did you watch it in one sitting?
I did watch it in one sitting, and I kind of regret that I didn't break it up more.
Did you feel fatigued at the end?
Yeah, maybe my bad mood is partly because of our recording setup at the moment, Chris, and partly because I shotgunned it all, and I feel that I spent most of my weekend watching it, so maybe, yeah, if I'd broken it up into half-hour chunks or however long the parts are, then I might have been in more good humour, but there we go. It is an improvement, Chris. I don't want my bad attitude to upset you.
I think it's a vast improvement over everything they've done in the film. I like this version of Steppenwolf better, with his cool looking glistening armor.
He doesn't.
No. Well, I like all the additional scenes. I like the extended scenes. I like the new dialogue. I like they remove some of the jokes, and then they add some different ones. You got Aquaman doing his, or whatever he says, yeah, man, or I can't remember what he says, but he's not saying it with Batman this time. He's saying it with Cyborg carrying him instead.
I miss the bit in the Batplane where he sits on the lasso of truth and he's being funny. That I could have had that back in. That would have been nice.
No, far too many jokes. That was one of the things when Whedon took over, and he's like, "Oh, this is far too grim. Oh, joke everywhere." You don't need jokes all out through the film, okay?
Oh no, you just give all the jokes to one character.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, see, you're learning already. You're going to make a character someday.
That's not how it works.
Exactly how it works, and yeah, just what was the other thing? Was it ever explained why the aspect ratio was changed?
For directorial vision.
For directorial vision.
Yeah, that's how Snyder wanted it. Did it bother you?
When I first put it on, and I thought, oh, maybe my copy's gone funny. Why is it in like that? And then I remembered back thinking, oh, hang on, when they released trailers for this, the trailers were cropped in as well. And then I spoke to somebody else, and yeah, it's intentional. And I was like, oh. But as soon as I started watching it, within about 10 minutes, you don't realise it anymore. It's gone. It doesn't matter. But I just thought maybe there was a more specific reason for it, rather than Snyder going, yeah, you know what, I don't want widescreen.
Yeah, that was the reason. Snyder's
like, oh, fuck. No, wise. I will say one thing, and Snyder does this in all of his films. So much slow-mo.
Yeah, there were 3 extended slow-mo scenes of characters wandering around and a weird sort of ethereal cover version of a song playing over it. It happens with The Flash in that car crash scene, Aquaman wandering into the sea, and Wonder Woman, I think, as well. But yeah, it's long and drawn out and doesn't add that much. It's cool to look at, but in a 4-hour film, it's kind of like, can we get to the next bit, please? There's only so much slow-mo I can take, and I know Mr. Snyder is a big fan of slow-mo. Yes. Maybe he'd really enjoy the film Eck versus Sever then, because there's a lot of slow-mo in that as well.
is when it turns out he actually worked on this in his youth, uncredited, of course, but he wrote it. He wrote parts of it. He just wrote slow-mo.
Jesus. No. What else does I'm trying to be positive, Chris. I think
the removal of the Russian family that were caught up in the where Steppenwolf's building up the lair and that lot, and how it keeps going to them.
Yeah,
that all got taken out. Great, that's good, because that was pointless. We don't need that.
That's fine. Get rid of them. Batman's motivation for trying to bring Superman back as well, it's grief fueled. I think that was portrayed a little bit better in this version as well.
Because a lot of this, they shot additional scenes for this film and stuff like that. Obviously, they had to record new footage. Henry Cavill was not CGI'd mustache this time, was he?
No, and that's one of the compliments of a film shouldn't have been that your leading actor actually looks like a person. But I think it has to be said that Henry Cavill, the good-looking man that he is, looks like a good-looking man in this film and not a weird computer-generated monster. So, yeah, I think most of that might have been just the original Snyder shots. Again, I don't know how much of it was reshot. I know there was a scene between Ben Affleck and Jared Leto, which was shot in the reshoots during COVID and stuff. But yeah, I think maybe most of Henry Cavill's stuff was probably from Snyder's original take, because you can very clearly tell when it's a Whedon reshoot because, the mustache thing had to be edited off. So, yeah. Shall we talk about the end credity bits?
Yeah, sure. Okay. I was trying to think, and I was like, how many end credits? There's nothing after the credits. I was like, oh, yeah, it's before the credits, isn't it?
It's the epilogue chapter. There's nothing at the end of the thing, which is fair enough. It's 4 hours long. You don't want to sit through the credits after sitting through a 4-hour film. The Lex Luthor little epilogue bit, I think, is much better than 2017, because it's not just, we should do a league. It's, hey, I'm Lex Luthor. Batman is Bruce Wayne. Go kill him. Deadpool or Deathstroke, whoever you are. Go kill him.
Deathstroke. Yeah, I thought it was good. Which, see, now that would have led into an exciting, for me anyway, Ben Affleck Batman movie, which I don't think's ever going to happen. Nope. And then we've got the Nightmare Part 2 dream, if you like, because when I was watching this film, I heard there was a nightmare dream in it, and I was thinking, what was that nightmare dream? And then I remember the nightmare dream was in Batman vs. Superman. So I was thinking, no, maybe they might add a new one in this, which they did. So the nightmare dream, what did you think of that?
I didn't care for it, really.
What is wrong with you?
No.
It was setting up beautifully for a Darkseid Evil Superman storyline.
Yeah. I've already had that storyline in Injustice, so I'm not gagging to see it on screen. But look, I've tried to stay away from everyone else's thoughts and opinions on the film, because I don't want anyone else's opinion to kind of influence my opinion. But I have seen headlines cropping up here and there, clickbait mostly, and as hard as I've tried not to read them, I've not engaged with any podcasts or any other reviews of the film. But there is one clickbait headline that really got to me, Chris, and it was Batman and Joker's best interaction in Snyder's cut. And I'm like, no.
One interaction.
It's like the best interaction. One, it's their only interaction. Two, there have been better interactions. I'm talking like Adam West, Cesar Romero. That's just to annoy people. I don't think that's true. But look, they're talking about characters that we've never met. Batman tells Joker to fuck off. It takes more than that to get me invested in these two's backstories. I mean, we don't even know which Robin Joker killed. It could be, who is it? Dick Grayson, Jason Todd, Tim Drake? We don't know, so I'm not invested in the character.
Comically, it's Jason Todd.
Yeah, but we don't know. I'm not invested in a dead character, a fictional dead character that we've never seen and hardly anyone talks about. I don't care.
But this is just that scene isn't going to be like, next film, this is what happened. It's laying the seeds for it. there would have been other things before it, then they would have built up to the nightmare. Probably the next film would have had a small nightmare segment in it.
Chris,
maybe that was his plan. Each Justice League was going to have a small nightmare segment leading up to Justice League Ultimate Dark Side Annihilation Superman.
They're laying the seeds before they've put the soil into the pot that they want to grow the plant in, Chris. They're not doing it the right way. This interaction means nothing to me because they've never interacted before. I know that Batman and Joker have a deep history, but these two characters are complete strangers.
Are you forgetting the Suicide Squad when Batman's on top of the car and he punches through the roof?
Oh, great. That classic
There you go.
moment.
Plenty of interaction. There you go. Right. So that introduces the characters beautifully. And I'm sorry you don't have the vision to see that, but Snyder did, damn it.
Again, I think this film is fine, okay? An improvement, but no, it wasn't even made for me, this film. I couldn't care less about the Snyder Cut, but yeah, I don't know what I'm trying to say, Chris. I liked it, but not as much as other people.
God, I know why. It's because it had Jared Leto in it, didn't it? You gotta let it say where Jared Leto go.
Just not an interesting interpretation of the Joker, I'm sorry.
He hasn't got the tattoos, alright? He listened to your complaints and got rid of the tattoos.
Still has a terrible laugh, though.
What's wrong with That's a perfect noise laugh. It's awful.
It's the penguin. Okay. That's what it is. It's the penguin laugh.
Oh, God. And then what was the next scene? The Martian Manhunter coming down and going, "Hey, Bruce, I'm Martian Manhunter. I'm going to join your team." Bye.
I cheered up Lois Lane. I mean, Martha could have just cheered her up, but I think canonically Martha maybe hates Lois, so I did it instead.
Yeah.
Anyway, you didn't really need Superman because I'm an alien that can fly. I'm pretty strong and I'm a shapeshifter, so maybe instead of resurrecting Superman, I could have been your pick. But never mind. I'll be here if you need me, maybe. I'm Martian Manhunter. Toodaloo. And Bruce Wayne just wanders off and goes back to sleep and thinks it's another nightmare dream.
Probably does. And don't forget, when he's not Martian Manhunter, he's in the US military. He's the guy from Man of Steel. I forgot his name.
General Steel.
General Steel, fuck's sake. Alright, but he's been hiding in the US military this whole time. Fair enough. I mean, Superman's stronger than Martian Manhunter, though, isn't he?
Yeah, but...
A Kryptonian juiced up on the Earth's sun.
Yeah, but Martian Manhunter can turn into a dragon.
Alright, Superman can cut that dragon in half with heat vision. What does it matter?
He just eats Steppenwolf.
Well, I mean, yeah, he could have done, but Martian Manhunter wasn't there.
Oh, that's
he wouldn't
true.
have got there in time.
He should have been there.
Did you see how slowly he flew away from Bruce? How slowly he was like, "I'm Martian Manhunter now. Watch as I just, like an elderly lady crossing the street, go away." With Superman, he's always like, poof, immediately.
I guess. Look, there are a few moments where characters get to certain scenes before the Flash does, and I'm like, no, what's going on there?
Okay, it would make sense, yes, for the Flash to arrive there first every time, obviously being the fastest, but this is not a confident Flash. This is a Flash who's never punched anybody. He just runs around and pushes people. So maybe he doesn't want to arrive there first because he feels like it's too much of a responsibility. You know, oh, here come the Justice League. Here's the first hero. He's obviously, the first one there. He's the one you just automatically assume he's in charge, and it's Flash, fumbling his words.
Okay.
Introducing himself the wrong way around. So no wonder he holds back. He's like, yeah, I'm going to let one of the others get there first because they're all far more confident than me.
Confident and competent, yeah, I like that. We're doing that thing that we did in Secret Obsession, where we're picking out,
tracing these backstories that don't exist at all,
creating in-universe solutions to problems. Nobody likes Batman because they make him walk and stuff up things. I mean, there are a couple of scenes where the Batcrawler, why doesn't Cyborg grab them all and fly up out of the tunnel that's flooding?
He just leaves them there, doesn't he? He just flies out.
He could have just grabbed them all, but no, let's take the crawler up the wall very slowly. Yeah.
I mean, if Flash stopped, pussyfooting around, he's cut his leg, big whoop, he could run up the wall. I'm pretty sure Diana could just jump out of there regardless. And, it's Batman. He's going to get out because it's Batman. He'll get out his own way.
Yeah. I like that Batman kicks a bit more arse in this film. He doesn't tackle one parademon, lose the fight, and then ask for a big tank. He's punching parademons and taking them out. He's using a gun, but he's using it on alien monsters, so that's fine, I guess. I'm over the shock of this version of Batman using a gun. He can do what he wants. I don't care. I also like the end bit where Superman, where they actually need the team to defeat Steppenwolf, because they don't, do they? They get there too late, the mother boxes have joined, and they're about to obliterate everyone on Earth, and it's the Flash that's able to give them a second chance and do his little time reverse thing and help Cyborg give him the charge that he needs to separate the boxes. So I think that's good that Superman wasn't resurrected like he was in the first version and just mopped up Steppenwolf and was like, yeah, you guys, I didn't really need you. He needed the team, otherwise the world would have ended. So that's good.
Yeah, I agree with you. That's good as well. I quite like that Flash scene when it's exploding out, because it all connected together and exploded. I was like, oh, this is different from the first one. And I love when Flash puts up his hand and then it's playing the music and that lot. I thought that whole scene with Flash was
if
pretty good.
Could save time in a battle. Oh, yeah. No, that's a different one.
But yeah, I thought that was all great. Also, I like how many times Steppenwolf took Superman's direct punches to the face, but was still alive. I mean, his punches were strong. You could see the shockwaves coming off of them, and he was taking all into his face. I assume Superman was going full force with his punches. It wasn't just holding back.
That's every punch, though, that Superman throws.
What's that? What, full force?
Yeah, because we don't see him fight anyone less than him. Well, apart from Batman. And I'm pretty sure if you went back, you'd see his punches on Batman doing that weird vroom effect in the rain.
Yeah, he's not doing full force. I mean, he barely punches Batman. He's more just gently tapping him and he's going flying.
I reckon he tried to clobber Batman once. Like, fuck this clown.
Oh, just once wants to go full out and just do it.
Just wallop him.
I mean, I remember an animated one where Superman is fighting Darkseid and he's saying where he has to always hold back because his punches are too strong. He doesn't want to kill someone.
And he's like,
but you can take it, can't you? And he's good laying into him. So I don't know if he was holding back with Steppenwolf or not. I mean, if he wasn't, Steppenwolf was tanking those punches and he was still alive afterwards, and then is finally beheaded and dies.
Yeah, I liked his
that way.
I liked his death scene. Aquaman stabs him, chucks him, Wonder Woman chops his head off, and then Darkseid just steps on his head, looks through a portal, and then decides to leave. Why did he leave? He's got like an army of parademons, and there are like 6 people in front of him.
Maybe just unnerved him seeing that, and he's like, ooh, shit, okay, maybe I need to plan a bit more before I do this. Maybe the portal wasn't going to stay open for long, and if he went through some parademons, it was going to close off, and he thought, oh, I might get hurt before I can get back. Who knows?
I'm not impressed by this version of Darkseid. He gets beaten up by Ares, and then he's a bit of a pussy in the face of these clowns. Well, they're not clowns. They're a highly effective team. Well, they're a sort of team.
But yeah, I mean, they are a team. They learned from the mistake the first time round that Flash points out, this is not together, when they're all fighting.
Yeah. And how do they... Well, they do a bit of teamwork, don't they? They do more teamwork in this than...
They do.
Yeah.
What do you think this time round of resurrecting Superman and then having his little fight with the Justice League? I'm glad because some of that was still the same as the first one. I'm glad they kept the part in where Flash is running around and Superman looks and Flash is like, oh my god, he can see me running.
Yeah, and I like that, but I think it's mostly the same. I think most of the big set pieces and plot points are the same, essentially. There's just a bigger gap between them. So Superman coming back, the initial fight with Steppenwolf, and they realise they're not a team, so they go and get Superman back, and then the end stuff. It's all the same in my view. That's the plot. It's still not perfect, but it's smoother, I think. But it's still dodgy.
Yeah, but it's definitely a step in the right direction. That's what I'm saying. So if Snyder was able to do the next one, I don't know if he is doing the next one or what. I mean, I know DC aren't continuing with his shared universe thing, but I think if he'd done it and he looked at this version of Justice League and he's like, okay, this one all great, these bits weren't so great, and then he just builds it up each film, and they can only hopefully get better. But I mean, I don't know what they're planning to do with it or not. Well, DC have decided to break off into separate films, haven't they? Rather than trying to do a shared thing anymore, because they know they fluffed it.
Well, yeah, look, Snyder had 4 years to think about how we could get it done again. And I know this isn't what he would have wanted, because he's working with certain limitations of the coronavirus and stuff like that. And like you said, he wanted it to be a multi-saga epic. But I don't think he would have been able to get his vision across with Warner Brothers in charge. So again, he thrives in that bloodier, grittier world, but he wouldn't be allowed to go full Snyder with a property this big that Warner Brothers are pumping a lot of money into. And the films that he worked on, Man of Steel made money, Batman v Superman cost more and did not make as much money, and Justice League also made less money as well. So it's diminishing returns. So whether Warner Brothers would trust him with even more money for a second and third film, I don't think they would.
Yeah, but it's not his fault that the 2017 Justice League lost money.
No, but it is...
That's Warner Bros. And Whedon's fault, because Warner Bros. Went to Whedon, right, don't make the film longer than 2 hours. We want it a PG-13, and get rid of all this dark, some violent stuff, make it brighter, get some jokes in.
That's fine, but Warner Brothers were never going to release a 15-rated version back in 2017 of Justice League. And although Justice League's failings aren't Snyder's fault at all, the slightly underwhelming performance of Batman v Superman is Snyder's fault.
Some people complain it was too dark.
It's also very convoluted and not great, in my opinion.
It also follows the classic trope of having the two big heroes fight once or twice and then having to unite.
No, once. For 5 minutes in a bathroom.
It's exactly what Godzilla vs. Kong is going to be like.
They're going to fight in a bathroom.
They're going to fight in a bathroom once, and then they're going to team up to fight Mechagodzilla. That's what it's going to be like, because studios do not learn.
Yeah, well, we've not seen Godzilla vs. King Kong, so maybe they'll fight in a bathroom, and then maybe they'll fight in an alleyway somewhere. That'll be... if they fight more than once, it'll be an improvement over Batman v fucking Superman. Yeah. Have you got anything else to add? Because I don't... I've said my piece. I think it's the same film, but better.
Yeah, it's essentially the same film but better, but a vast improvement. I think you're not fully appreciating how vastly this has improved.
It's not vast. The quality level in my mind isn't. It's not, say, it's not Titanic 2 and Titanic levels of difference. It's more Sharknado and Sharknado 2 levels of difference.
Whoa!
I'm not saying it's Sharknado. I'm saying it's closer in quality than I think most people are prepared to admit.
No, I completely disagree with that. I think the quality is far, far better in all of it. And I think you'll find most people will agree with that.
Fine. I guess we'll agree to disagree, caller. I'm going to hang up on you now, because fuck you. I can do that.
I mean, you could, but just before you do, one more thing. Go, Jared Leto! Woo!
No, I don't think he's good. I'm going to put you on hold, see if there's hold music on my phone. Yeah, I'll put him on hold. No, I'll bring him back on. You there, Chris?
Okay, there was no hold music.
I know. I was expecting to hear it. I'll sort that out for next time. If this is how we're going to be podcasting for the rest of the plague. But yeah, people can shout at me because I didn't think that this was the second coming of Christ or whatever. We could survive that at gmail.com or tweet us at We Could Survive. Just remember, I think it's good, but it's not fucking jizzing your pants good. All right? Just calm down, everybody.
Well, I mean, you clearly didn't watch the extended 6-hour-long version I told you about.
Fuck off. Next week, Chris.
Yes.
I genuinely don't know what we're going to do, because I don't know about technical stuff, so we'll see.
Oh, goody. Okay. Is that also, when you say you don't know, is that just because of the current recording mishaps, or have you not got a film in mind?
Pick one. I don't care. Pick any problem. Just end the show.
Okay.
End the show and hang up.
Well, thank you to everybody who's been listening to We Could Survive That, your weekly survival guide to the movies. We'll see you next week. But remember, keep on surviving, and goodbye.